So the Environmental Defense Fund exists to help influence policymakers with regards to legislation and climate policy and regulation. We use economics and scientific data to help find solutions that work for policymakers as it relates to climate mitigation and renewable energy efforts. And part of the goal of the Environmental Defense Fund is to build stronger collaborative relationships with communities of color. Our organization is also a nonprofit organization, so a lot of our funding we derive from our members, who are members of the Environmental Defense Fund, but also donors as well. And so typically, for me, it's outlining an agenda, a strategy, if you will, to raise the level of awareness of climate change policy and legislation. And that includes engaging the minority community. What has to happen is there has to be a level of engagement on behalf of the Black community, on behalf of our people in terms of the perspectives that are important to us to help influence that conversation. And the way you do that is you have to build capital. You have to build awareness and get people engaged. But you don't really see a lot of the environmental community reaching out to the African American community in a way that really elevate that level of discourse, that level of awareness. So a couple of things that I think would be helpful in elevating that level of discourse is we need our politicians, we need our leaders, both local and statewide leaders, to become more engaged in the environmental conversation. I had the opportunity to participate in a summer camp that was funded by a number of benefactors who were very wealthy for foster kids. I grew up in foster care. And I remember going to the mountains and going into the forests, and there was pristine air and the environment was gorgeous and beautiful, and I thought to myself, wow, this is absolutely amazing. And it wasn't until I left that environment and went back home that I realized, there's something wrong here. The environmental degradation in my community became more stark. And I understood that it was not fair, and I understood that it was not wrong. And so I incorporated that experience into my professional career, both starting in the legislature, being exposed to environmental policy, but subsequently leaving the legislature and becoming a lobbyist on the environmental side.